join us on Zoom. Okay, I'll go ahead and call the meeting to order and ask for a roll call, please.
Sand City. Here. County of Monterey.
Here.
Seaside.
Here.
Marina Coast.
Here.
Delray Oaks. Salinas.
Here.
Pacific Grove. Here. Castroville.
Here.
Veranda.
Here.
Monterey.
Here. All right, I think we have a quorum. So with that, we'll move to item 3, Pledge of Allegiance. I'll ask board member Alexis Arizal Garcia to kick us off. Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, with that, ask for additions to agenda.
No additions.
Seeing none, move on to approval of agenda.
Move approval. Second.
So moved and seconded, take it out for public comment. Anybody in the public wish to speak on this item? Folks on Zoom, you can use the raise hand function. Anybody in the chamber wish to speak on this item? Seeing none, we'll go ahead and bring it back to the board for motion and deliberation. Oh,
I don't know if he was putting his hand up.
No. I'm waiting for the.
This is the public part.
the general public comment is what you're looking for. Okay, perfect.
Oh, okay.
And that's coming up right after this. So with that, we'll go ahead and call for question. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously. With that, we'll open it up for general public comment. So we'll ask folks if they're in the chamber to jump up to the mic. If you're on Zoom, you can use the raise hand function. Please.
Does this mic work here? Perfect. All right. I won't be before you long, but I wanted to say good evening, chair members, board. My name is Donnell Ragsdale, and I'm speaking on behalf of Invoice Maps. I appreciate the board's ongoing efforts to balance rate, stability, with critical investments. I'm here to advocate for asset management and infrastructure reliability with artificial intelligence software for the administration. Let me be brief, but I'm going to cover a few core features to this. First thing is interactive maps, which is what we do. It's interactive maps of your customer database, real-time customer data updates via AI that connects directly to county records offices. Seamless integration with your current CRM, invoice builder for easy customizable invoices that tie to customer location, work order templates tied to specific locations on the map, and also digital asset management with AI analyzed documents, files, smart tagging, and time stamping. Bank level security built-in software, which is very important, especially with, today's, high alert for security for people's, personal information. Harvard trained engineers, expertise behind the product, 30-day onboarding with fully customizable software options, save time and money with the power of AI-driven automation, which is a very good feature to have. And basically, I just want to say at the end here, please let me know if Invoice Map software is something you believe can help your districts. Request a demo to see the software in action. You do have some information we did put in front of you. You can also call that number. Info at Invoice Maps is where you can reach us so that you can schedule that demo. It's about 15 minutes, no cost to you. And thanks for your time.
Thank you. Seeing no other public commenters, we'll go ahead and bring it back to the board and move on to 7, which is consent. Is there a motion to approve consent?
Approval.
Been moved and seconded. We'll take it out to the public. Anybody in the chamber wish to speak on this item? We'll do a check for folks on Zoom. All right, seeing none, bring it back to the board and I'll call the question. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously. With that, we'll move on to item 8A, under committee reports is Budget Personnel Committee, which was canceled. 8B is Recycled Water Committee. And we're looking for a motion to approve the Recycled Water Committee meeting minutes from January 15th.
Move to accept the minutes.
Second. So moved and seconded. Open it up for public comment. Anybody wish to speak on this item? Seeing none, we'll go ahead and bring it back to the board. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously. With that, we'll move on to item number 9. Somebody's pacemaker? Just kidding. Sorry, I'm sorry. Sorry. Uh, 9, action items. 9A is consider approval of change order in the amount of sorry. Losing it. $638,471 to the Royal Electric Construction contract for the CP310 RTP electric upgrades project and authorize the release of an additional $1,301,529 contingency to bring the total contingency amount to $2,940,000. With that, I'll pass it to staff for presentation.
Good evening, Chair Williamson and members of the board. I'm Jennifer Gonzalez, CIP Manager. In April 2025, staff came to the RWC and the board to award the construction contract for the CP310 electrical upgrades project. The construction cost for the base project is $29,489,000 and was awarded with a $1 million contingency amount. To date, 2 contract change orders have been approved at the staff level using most of that original contingency amount. Number 1 was for $790,192, excuse me, and it increased the size of the switchgear to accommodate a change from 4,000 amps to 5,000 amps for future projects that are currently in design at the treatment plant. Number 2 was for $114,900 and increased the size of the 2 integrated power assembly buildings to accommodate the larger switchgear size. Staff recommends the approval of a 3rd contract change order for $638,471 for work associated with the new microgrid control panel to allow the future interconnection of AWPF, SVRP, and the RTP. All of the change orders considered by staff to date have been the result of owner-initiated changes to accommodate the myriad projects that are anticipated for the future of the agency. Matt will be giving an update on most of those projects as item 10B on the agenda, talking about renewable energy and all of the electrical reliability projects. Tonight, staff is requesting release of additional contingency for future changes so that there are not unnecessary delays to construction. Staff requests that the Recycled Water Committee consider recommending to the board, staff requests that the board approves an owner-initiated change order, number 3, in the amount of $638,471 in the Royal Electric Construction contract for the CP310 Regional Treatment Plant Electrical Upgrade and Interconnection Project. And 2, release of an additional $1,301,529 in contingency to bring the total contingency amount up to $2,940,000, which is the 10% of the original contract. And I'm happy to answer any questions.
So thank you for the presentation. Any questions?
Yeah, just a couple clarifications. You said that the previous change orders were done at the staff level? They didn't come to the board?
We were allowed to go up to $1 million in contingency, but we always come back to the board to let you know what that money has been used for. So those 2 change orders have already been approved within that original contingency amount, but we're informing you that those were done.
Now you are. It didn't inform before.
Right.
It didn't come back.
Right.
So when we approved the project as a whole, the $29 million project, part of that was a $1 million contingency to allow staff and consultants to do change orders so we don't slow down the contractor. As you all know, if we slow down the contractor and we have to wait a month to come to the board, it could incur significant other costs. But like Jen said, we always come back and say, here's what we're doing. And whether it's owner initiated, unknown conditions, or something different.
Right. So, my only concern is just that if we're having 3 change orders, and I'm for this, we got to get it rolling here, but I'm just looking towards the future. That seems a little unusual, that many, perhaps coming down on, I mean, I know it's a big project or so, but I know my experience over the last few years, I've seen a lot of projects that come in with a cost and then they balloon up, and the firmer we can have that cost initially. I mean, we just had a little issue at the county with the building that went from 50 million to 170 million. That did not get approved. If you're looking baffled, it's a mental health facility. You might have read about it. And I've seen, in another project, when I first came on the board of supervisors with Caltrans out and with the 156 interchange, where it went from 50 to 70 and now it's 125. But, they went from 50 to 70 because they realized when they were just about being shovel ready that the soil there wasn't going to work for the compaction and they're going to have to import. So, I just bring it up just because it's the third change order that it seems like when we put something out to bid, it's always, to try to have as many of those loose ends tied together, because then we can get the best bid and the most economical bids, I should say, for a project. So anyway, that's the only thing that caught my attention was the three change orders.
And I totally agree. We try to do the best we can with the information we have. So we have competitive bids to get that low price. In this particular instance, and I guess I want to talk about moving forward because we have a lot of large projects that'll be happening over the next 10 years. But in this particular instance, the project was designed in 24, 25, bid in 25. Concurrent with that, we've been working on the renewable energy project and bringing electricity in from regen. The 3 change orders are owner initiated. So it wasn't an error in design or unknown field conditions. It was truly, hey, we need to upsize some of this electrical equipment to accommodate our new designs coming forward. So I understand and I agree. There are certain circumstances that we can certainly inform the board maybe more thoroughly on these ones. So one was the size of the switchgear to accommodate a larger amps. The other one is the integrated power assembly to accommodate the size of the switchgear, because there is those causal relationships at increasing. Still, we are under 10% of the overall project costs in contingency on this.
Right.
It's still a big number. I get that. And, we're going to be talking a little bit about the renewable energy projects. That's a $40 million project. And we're going to be talking in a couple months about our treatment plant master plan, which is actually probably, Matt will tell us, I'm sure it's like 300 million by now. So being cognizant of that sort of issue is important.
No, I know, and I appreciate that. As I say, I understand the project here, because you did state we have some big projects coming down. That's what I'm looking at here on the line, just to try to pin those things in as well as much as possible. I'm a little like gun shy from getting burned on a couple of things that have come before I've seen and not totally fleshed out. So most we can do, the more we can do, the better.
Okay.
Right. Any other questions, comments at this time? All right, let's take it out to the public. Anybody in the public wish to speak on this item? All right, we'll bring it back to the committee for motion and deliberation.
I'll make a motion.
I'll second.
All right, any other discussion? All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Thank you, Jen. All right, with that, we'll move on to item 10 is information items. 10A is Pure Water Monterey update. And we'll pass it to Paul.
Thank you, Chair Williamson. first thing on the Pure Water update, for the last few years, you've been used to having Dave Lindau do these updates. Dave retired as of last Friday. So congratulations to him, and we certainly appreciate all the work and effort he put into the Pure Water projects from phase one through the expansion. And at some point, Chai, maybe we can ask the board to sign a card to him at a minimum, just to acknowledge what he's done for us and this community. So with that, I think you're all aware, in October, we had all our permits and we started injecting water right thereafter. In December, we actually injected 603 acre feet, which is the first time that we'd been over that 600 acre foot per month milestone. So it's fairly impressive. Tammy and crew have got this thing rolling, putting it through its paces. The advanced water purification facility itself, we still have a large punch list. And it's not that large, depending on maybe some of the buildings that you've dealt with, but there's about 20 items on the punch list. And we're working through some of those end of contract issues, like requests for additional funds, us proposing liquidated damages. So even though Dave's not here, we have, is Allison here?
Yes.
Oh, there you are. Allison, Matt, and the rest of the team are working through this with MWH, and we'll get there. Substantial completion on AWPF was done October 22nd. So when we look at contractually, things are moving forward. Later this year, actually, I'm going to say April, May, we're going to have that direct power connection from Regen Monterey to the advanced water purification facility. So that'll be another milestone for the project. In reference to the injection well project, which is certainly part of it, as you all know, substantial completion was done August 22nd. So it's been a little ahead of the treatment plant side of things. Still a punch list. There's about 5 minor items that need to be closed out, and a final change order to true up everything that's there. But all in all, the project's going pretty well, and we should hopefully see it final punch list and closed out in the coming months. Do you want to add anything to that? Okay. It was spot on because Allison put this together for me. Any questions on Pure Water at this stage?
So how long was Dave Lindau with us?
God, it felt like 30 years. He came on in 2018, 19. So he was with us like 7 years, call it.
Well, I'd love to hear fellow directors' opinion on this and staff's opinion on this, but maybe we should do a little bit more than a card for him, maybe a plaque or something.
Yeah, I think, board member Habino suggested a pen. No, I'm joking. I'm joking. No,
He
we
didn't
actually
suggest a gold watch.
Probably not a great idea to make fun of your incoming chair. Yeah, we definitely want to at least get everyone's acknowledgement from the board because he did such a great job, and we'll try to figure out what we can do for him beyond that
Okay,
as he goes into retirement.
thank you.
Anybody else? Awesome. Thanks for the update. I'm glad to see that we're reaching some new milestones here. Our storage. All right, with that, we'll go to 10B, update on renewable energy and electrical reliability program. With that, I'll pass it back to Paul.
Thank you, Chair Williamson. So I know those of you on Recycled Water Committee have heard this presentation. It will be maybe a little more detailed than we tried to make it on during Recycled Water. One of the goals the board has set for us, for me, is to provide an update on renewable energy, because that's sort of the next large project that's staring us in the face. Like I said, there's a number of them over the next 10 years, but this one's unique in the fact that you probably remember years ago the study we did with Regen Monterey on how to best utilize the resources of both entities. We presented that report to the board. We are not working in conjunction with Regen right now, other than this one connection of their landfill gas renewable energy to Pure Water Monterey, but we stay in contact with them. They, at this point, wanted to pursue other priorities for Regen, whereas we felt with Pure Water Monterey and expansion online, as well as the age of our electrical infrastructure at the treatment plant, it was a prudent time to embark upon this renewable energy project. It has changed substantially. Those of you that have been on the board a while and were part of the, you were on the ad hoc committee, weren't you? We had always talked about a central power plant, like let's bring the energy in, let's generate electricity and use it and then sell it back to PG&E. What we found over time, and Matt has been driving this substantially, is the business case is better for this agency if we condition our biogas to renewable natural gas and sell it back to PG&E. We would still be able to generate some energy using linear generators, which is a change from before as well. But the intent is, how can we power all of our facilities, have more reliability than we've had with PG&E over the last 20 years or so at a lower cost? We all know energy is going up substantially. Pure Water Monterey, frankly, uses a lot of energy. Moving and treating water takes energy. So this is trying to take it, the energy side of things, both electricity and gas, into our own hands. One of the things Matt will talk about is what are projected sales looking like? And there's some boundary conditions there that make the payback period relatively short, let's say 6, 7 years. Depending what happens, it could be longer. Regardless, it's not just the payback, but it's also the reliability that is of value to this agency. With that as sort of the backdrop, before Matt gets into some of the details on the project and the food waste receiving station, that I see you all have the food waste buckets in front of you. Any questions on the more macro level? Please.
So this is a thought or an idea, and it's you're thinking about powering up all our storing energy. So so to build that, you'd have to build a facility which would store it, right? We have 3 CE, so that's public power, I guess, and right now energy is very volatile. So with pricing, I believe PG&E is going to be cheaper than 3 CE. So, and thoughts on storage? And
So-
it's hard to store during the evening time. Well, actually, Tyler, you're with 3 CE, aren't you? Right? So, yeah. So that's kind of that would be a big project.
Absolutely.
So one of the things we looked at in that initial study was battery storage. However, we've sort of gone away from that for now. It doesn't mean we wouldn't necessarily do it later, but trying to match the energy demands around the plants between what comes through with Regen and what we could produce ourselves. The food waste receiving station and the increased production of biogas, we would try to go all in with renewable natural gas. At this point, and Matt will talk about it, the tariffs are different, much different, because there's incentives for PG&E to have a fraction of their gas production be biogas, renewable natural gas. So we can get more money back from that. In this particular situation, we wouldn't necessarily need the batteries to operate in a steady state condition. Now, I don't know how many years down the line, 7 years, 10 years, let's say those tariffs change, it could be a different situation where instead of producing renewable natural gas, maybe we use it, maybe we get more energy or more electricity and buy battery storage. So what we're designing in is a certain amount of flexibility in using or selling that renewable natural gas, with the understanding electricity rates are going up any way we look at it. So, but that is something that's in consideration. So thank you.
Anybody else?
Matt, you want to jump into the PowerPoint?
Yeah, let's do it. All right. Good evening, directors. I'm your Director of Engineering, Matt Thompson. I'm pleased to be with you this evening to present an update on Monterey One Water's renewable energy and electrical reliability program. You will recall in 2024, Monterey One Water and Regen completed a renewable energy and electrical reliability plan. Your engineering team has since completed or began 4 major interrelated projects recommended in the plan, all with the goals to maximize renewable energy opportunities and improve electrical power reliability and resilience. These are large projects that will require major spending and focused effort by our staff for the next approximately 4 years. I'd like to take some time to bring you up to speed on the purpose and status of each project. I'm going to run through this quickly, but I'd like to invite you to just jump in if you have any questions. All right, first up, next slide, please. First up are the food waste co-digestion facilities. This project enables us to receive food waste diverted from landfills into the anaerobic digesters at the regional treatment plant. This will reduce greenhouse gas emissions and increase our production of valuable biogas. We completed this project last month and celebrated with a ribbon cutting ceremony. The project included installation of a food waste receiving station where tanker trucks may drop off food waste slurry. That facility is what's shown in this photograph. The new equipment will help protect the digesters and control odors. The project also included installation of new, more powerful mixers on the anaerobic digesters to ensure good biogas production. The new mixers are much more energy efficient than the old mixers. This project cost $9.1 million. A grant from Cal Recycle covered $4.2 million of that amount. This project is eligible for the federal investment tax credit, which is a direct payment from the Internal Revenue Service for up to 30% of the total project cost. We are now in the process of applying to the IRS for that tax credit. Assuming we receive the 30% tax credit, the net cost of this project to our agency will be approximately $2.2 million. Next slide, please. The next project is a very large effort we call the renewable energy improvements. That project title may change in the future. But this project will put our increased biogas supply to its most beneficial use and improve our ability to self-generate clean and reliable electrical power. We intend to upgrade the biogas to renewable natural gas and inject it into PG&E's natural gas pipeline. We'll essentially be using the pipeline for storage of energy. Sales of renewable natural gas to PG&E will result in new revenue to this agency ranging from $1.9 million to $5.85 million per year. To accomplish this, many improvements to the regional treatment plant are needed. In October 2024, we hired the engineering firm Black & Veatch to design the renewable energy improvements. The project scope is extensive. It includes all the components shown in this exhibit, shown in blue in this exhibit. These include repairs to all 4 anaerobic digesters, replacement and upsizing of all the biogas piping, addition of a biogas conditioning system to remove pollutants and moisture from the raw biogas, addition of a membrane treatment process to upgrade the conditioned biogas to pipeline quality renewable natural gas, new gas compressors and a pipeline to deliver the RNG into PG&E's pipeline, which in turn supplies natural gas to all of the Monterey Peninsula and Carmel Valley. It includes addition of an RNG injection station to accurately measure the quantity and quality of renewable natural gas and new waste gas flares. The project also includes replacement of our existing 35-year-old cogeneration system with new power generation and digester heating systems. Power will be supplied by 5 new linear generators. These generate electrical power much more efficiently and with much lower emissions than the existing internal combustion engines. The digesters will be heated by new high-efficiency condensing type boilers. Black & Veatch made excellent progress on design of this project in the last year. The plans and specifications will be 90% complete next month in February. We're preparing to advertise this project for construction bids in April this year, with the goal to begin construction in the August-September timeframe this year. It's a very large project. It will take over 36 months to construct. It includes a lot of specialized equipment. The total project cost will be $52.6 million in $2,028, which is the anticipated midpoint of construction. This includes costs that must be paid to PG&E for design and installation of the RNG injection station. In fact, some of those project costs were the subject of other earlier items on today's meeting agenda. And then one last statement before I take your question, Tom. This project will be financed through a low interest loan from US EPA's Water Infrastructure Finance and Innovation Act loan program, also called WIFIA. This project is also eligible for the federal investment tax credit. And then the remaining project costs will be paid back by new revenues from renewable natural gas sales. Tom.
Yes, so this is a question about the RNG upgrade station. Since you're going to be removing hydrogen sulfide, which under room temperature, I believe is a gas, and siloxanes, what's the disposal process for those waste products, and what sort of cost would be involved with that, this part of the disposal?
Yeah, the technology used to remove the hydrogen sulfide from the gas is a media called iron sponge. It's essentially wood chips impregnated with a iron solution. It captures the hydrogen sulfide and it just gets trapped on the wood chips. That media must be occasionally replaced, and it's suitable for disposal in a landfill. Doesn't generate any sort of hazardous waste. The siloxanes will be removed by granular activated carbon. And so eventually the granular activated carbon will become spent, and similar to the iron sponge media will have to be disposed of. That particular media can be regenerated off-site and reused. But we don't have a lot of sort of secondary byproducts of biogas conditioning.
But both will have to be moved, so there's some transport cost involved, and hopefully a regeneration station for the activated carbon is not 1,000 miles away.
Correct.
And for the most part, they'll go to the landfill next door, like the wood chips, the iron sponge.
Right, right.
So it's not, we're fortunate in that sense.
Okay, thank you.
Next slide, please.
Actually, can we pause here a second?
Yes.
I want to come back to some of the things Matt just said on all this, because there's a lot of stuff going on in this slide. But he said 52 million bucks and a potential for investment tax credit of 30%, which ends up being 15.6 million. So, and I don't know, Johanna, if you want to speak to the investment tax credit at all or not, if there's questions. But when we say the payback period could change, if that investment tax credit goes away, which what we know right now is it's in for projects like this, we are submitting for what we did last year. It looks good, but if we get the 30%, and then if the range of revenue is at 1.9 to 5.85, probably a higher likelihood, if you were to guess, of 4 million is where?
Yeah, 3, 4.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if it's 4 million, the payback period on this is under 10 years. So when we're looking at getting tax credit or a grant effectively, and the new revenues in that 4 million range of a higher likelihood than the 1.9 or the 5.85, that's where we're at from a business case scenario. I have not included in that very simple look at the costs, the impacts of the low interest WIFIA loan, which obviously is beneficial to this agency and our customers. But I just wanted to give you that sort of the boundary conditions and what is a likely middle point. Is there anything you want to add, Johanna, on the investment tax, or not at this point? Okay. So, sorry.
All right, next slide, please. Thank you for adding that, Paul. Okay, the next project is the Regen Power Connection. The neighboring Regen landfill produces abundant landfill gas and uses it to fuel a 5 megawatt capacity power generating station. For many years, Regen has sold this renewable electricity to PG&E at a very low cost. Since adding the advanced water purification facility, we now have a greater need for reliable, low-cost electricity. This project is to complete a 21,000 volt power connection directly from Regen's power generating station to the advanced water purification facility. We've entered into an energy purchase agreement with Regen, in which Monterey One Water agrees to purchase a minimum of 1,800 kilowatts of electrical power for a much lower cost than we pay PG&E for power. This will save our agency approximately $1.8 million per year. We will be able to produce purified recycled water with 100% renewable electricity. This project will also benefit Regen in that we're going to pay them more for the power than what PG&E currently pays them for. So this project is truly a win-win. I think it's a really big win for both Monterey One Water and Regen. I've estimated that Regen will realize about $560,000 per year of additional revenue by essentially switching to us being their customer.
And to put our power and gas usage in perspective just on a dollar, for fiscal year 26-27, the budget will be coming to you in a few months. Electric and gas is about $9.2 million of our budget. So when we can do things like this, it can make a significant impact to our overall budget for our customers.
What would be, do you have an estimate of our savings since we'll be buying that same amount of power, but at a rate lower than what we're currently paying PG&E?
With the expanded capacity of the advanced water purification facility, it's consuming more power now. So there's even more savings than there was originally when we ran these calculations. But our estimated savings will be about $1.8 million per year. Okay.
And will this power line be an elevated or undergrounded?
It's overhead. And in fact, it's already in. And I'll tell you a little bit about the status of it.
Okay.
All right. All right. This project involves installation of 3 major components. Regen will soon complete installation of new electrical equipment and an overhead line of power on their side of the fence. That's actually pretty much complete. We must replace some of the electrical equipment at the advanced water purification facility before the connection is completed. The replacement electrical equipment will come pre-packaged in an integrated power assembly, which is an environmentally controlled enclosure that protects the equipment from the elements. We have a small project under construction now that will get us ready for delivery of the integrated power assembly in either late March or early April this year. And then after 2 or 3 months of installation work, we'll complete the power connection and begin purchasing lower cost power from Regen. This project will cost approximately $5.5 million. That includes the cost of the fairly expensive integrated power assembly at the advanced water purification facility. We should be able to pay back these costs in about 3 years with the big cost savings on electrical power. All right, next slide, please. The last project I have for you is the one that Jen presented earlier. This is the Regional Treatment Plant Electrical Upgrade and Interconnection Project. This project will replace and upsize the 35-year-old electrical service and equipment at the regional treatment plant and connect the RTP with the electrical systems for the advanced water purification facility and the Salinas Valley Reclamation Project. This interconnected electrical system will provide many benefits. It will enable us to use power supplied by Regen and the new array of linear generators at all 3 treatment facilities. It opens up the opportunity to purchase more power from Regen or expand the array of linear generators over time as our need for power grows. And as you mentioned, Marianne, it also gives us the backbone infrastructure to add storage in the future, should it become necessary. This diversification of power supplies will greatly improve reliability and enable us to better control our power costs. The upgraded and interconnected electrical system will also put us in a much better position for major future improvements to the regional treatment plant. We are delivering this project in two major parts. First is the RTP electrical upgrade. That's a project that's currently in construction. And second is installation of new power circuits and electrical gear to interconnect the regional treatment plant with the other treatment facilities. This is what we call the interconnection. Some people will commonly refer to this as the microgrid, but for compliance purposes, we want to use the term interconnection. All right, next slide, please. In April 2025, our board awarded a $29,489,400 contract to Royal Electric for construction of the RTP electrical upgrade. This is also a very major project. It includes upgrade of the 21,000 volt power service from PG&E. It includes replacement of the 21,000 volt electrical switchgear with the new integrated power assembly, new transformers, redundant transformers, replacement of the 480 volt electrical switchgear and the cogeneration electrical switchgear, and replacement of the existing standby generator. This is the generator that comes on when PG&E power goes off to make sure that our plant can essentially operate in an island type mode, isolated from PG&E. Very important piece of equipment. We're going to replace that with a new 2,000 kilowatt capacity standby generator. It also includes underground duct banks to facilitate the interconnection. Our contractor has recently been focused on procuring equipment and materials. They will soon mobilize to the regional treatment plant for the construction work. So when you go out there, you're going to see a lot of forces, a lot of equipment and manpower to start building this thing. Construction should be complete in August of 2028. All right, well, we've been getting the ball rolling on construction of the RTP electrical upgrade. We've been working with the same engineering firm that designed the project to design the interconnection. The design will be complete within the next few months, after which we will begin negotiations with Royal Electric for construction of the interconnection. This approach will enable us to complete the interconnection in late 2028, about the same time the RTP electrical upgrade is completed. The total cost for the RTP electrical upgrade and interconnection will be approximately $40 million. Most of this cost will be financed through a low interest WIFIA loan. Next slide, please. I had, per the request from the Recycled Water Committee, I had provided a timeline that showed, like a Gantt chart that showed all of the projects operating in parallel, having some technical difficulties. But the take-home message from that timeline is that we're running all four of these projects together in parallel. And this is so we have a functional renewable energy system and more reliable electrical system in the least amount of time possible, which will be about 3 to 4 years. If we were to run all of these projects in series, it would be 10 years before the system would be completed. And we just don't have that time. We have other needs to get to within the next 10 years. We've made good progress on this program there it is. That's just to show you the longest path is the Renewable Energy Improvements Project. That's the one we're preparing to take out to bid in the spring with the goal to begin construction in the fall. That will have a 36-month construction period. So that one won't be done until like about September of 2029. In the meantime, we intend to get done with the RTP electrical upgrade, and then of course the interconnection of the RTP with the other two treatment facilities. All right, we've made good progress on this program in the last year, and our projects have gained quite a bit of momentum. We have a lot of work to do in the next few years to complete these projects. Many action items related to these projects will be coming to the board in the year ahead. And that's, next slide, please, if you have one. That's fine. It's a placeholder. That's all for me. I'm glad to answer any questions you may have. We appreciate you bearing with me, and we appreciate your support for these important projects.
Thank you, Paul and Matt for the presentation, and particularly thank you for the timeline that was requested at the committee meeting. So it's really helpful to just kind of have a mental image of that. We'll open it up for questions, comments from the board, please. Sure.
First of all, I just want to say, Matt, I'm not going to ask you how many change orders are going to be required.
Too soon, too soon.
No, I am, and this probably isn't really a question for Matt here. Just, it's impressive. We're doing all this at one time, and that's a lot of balls to juggle, especially for you as engineer. So, kudos is good job, juggling them, and I hope you can continue.
Well, everyone in the group, literally the entire engineering team is aligned on this, and everyone in the group has their projects. I should have mentioned the renewable energy improvements are being led by Jerry Valadeo. The RTP electrical upgrade project is being led by Jennifer Gonzalez. We have great design engineers. I mean, we have a big team working together on this. It's not me.
Yeah. It looks impressive. So it's really good. I mean, you did a great presentation there. My question is because I know some of this is loans and some of we're getting grants on. Do we have any estimate on what impact this might have on our ratepayers? But is there likely to be some increase? What are we looking at? When would that happen?
So we, in our financial model for the upcoming rate study, we have Willdan under contract to prepare a rate study. One of the cornerstones of that rate study is the 15-year capital improvement program. So we have included the costs of these many projects in that capital improvement program. We anticipate in the coming months to get an answer to your question. It's just a little too early. We have a little bit more analytical work to do before we can tell you what the impact will be. What I want to note, though, is that unlike a lot of wastewater projects, which you really just have to do to comply with regulatory requirements, these projects have revenue component. They have a electrical power savings component that goes to pay back the cost of the infrastructure. It's not just a sunk cost like a typical treatment equipment or process. Yeah. So hence the availability of the investment tax credit, hence really the business case to be able to proceed with these various projects.
So Supervisor Church, do you want us, so in the Willdan study, we're going to do a rate study for the entire agency, obviously, and this is part of the capital improvement project list. Do you want us to look specifically at this suite of projects on renewable energy, interconnection, electrical upgrades to see what that component may increase rates over the next 10 years?
I think that, when you do the whole rate study, that'll be fine. It just came to mind on this. There's a lot of money being put out. I thought maybe you might have that number to see what impact this would have. This obviously work has to be done. So it's, it is what it is.
We'll try to get as much information as we can during the rate study. And on this particular one, between the low interest WIFI alone and all those other variables Matt talked about, it is hard to pinpoint exactly. So we've been looking at the overall projected 10-year plan, how to fund that and how that would impact the rates. But we'll drill down a little bit based on your question.
I just think when we have that rate study, I'm sure there'll be a lot of questions and that'll come up out of that. So this will be just a piece of that. So that'll be a discussion all itself.
Yeah. Tom, did you have your hand up?
Just quickie. So with this, with the CIP and the CIP coming up, so this here will be, we're going to be looking at this new construction here. I know in the past that a large part of this board was on infrastructure, on the aging infrastructure. So you're looking at everything, right?
Yeah, so
Yeah,
if,
and, yeah.
if we can, real quick snapshot, this is just the one thing for the next 3 years. Concurrent with this, what engineering has on their plate is we're doing a master plan for the entire treatment plant. So that aging infrastructure at the treatment plant itself. That's a significant effort when you start thinking about all the, in that 100 acres of land, how much infrastructure we have there and how much needs to be renewed. In addition, segmenting out the solid side, so the biosolids, that processing and where it goes, that's another program that they have going. So if we look over, Matt had this 3-year look. If we had a 10-year look, you could almost look at renewable energy, solids handling, and the treatment plan works in those 10 years are the latter two substantially replacing a lot of that older infrastructure. This is too. I mean, that electrical equipment's 35 years old and it needs to be replaced from a reliability and safety perspective. Something I didn't mention is then there's all the field facilities, the pump stations, the force mains, all that is people are working on now. We've had the Seaside and Monterey pump stations being worked on over the last year and a half. It will continue. So a bulk of that $500 million capital plan for 10 years is for for the aging infrastructure, and we just need to reinvest after all these years. So you sort of hit the nail on the head there. That makes us a little nervous on how we fit all this together with the resources we have, and then certainly the rate study.
And that's where I was going with the pump stations. And are we going to have to move anything away from the ocean side across the street?
So we are looking at
A
that.
little bit of everything, just
Yes.
look at the whole picture.
Yeah.
Okay.
Awesome. Anything else?
I've got one quick one for Matt on the interconnection. I understand like in terms of revenues and payback of the other projects, but on interconnection, it's a big chunk of the overall cost. It's like, I think you said 40 million. What is it just the reliability and the efficiency of the interconnection? I mean, or is there actually, because it's going to be on a Wi-Fi alone, is there an actual, how is the money going to be saved and, have money there to pay off that loan?
Yeah, so I told you about the regen power connection. In the first step, that power is only going to supply the advanced water purification facility. If we build the interconnection, it will enable us to purchase more lower cost power from regen to power all 3 treatment facilities.
Okay.
So we'll go beyond that $1.8 million per year that we'll save on power at the advanced water purification. We'll also save money on power at the regional treatment plant and at the Salinas Valley Reclamation Project. And so those cost savings will go to pay back essentially, because we're incurring those costs now, right? So this cost savings will essentially go to pay back the cost of the infrastructure, at least the part that's not covered by the investment tax credit.
Okay.
And Matt, correct me if I'm wrong, but the $40 million you mentioned was the RTP electrical upgrade and the interconnection.
Yes.
So
Oh,
the interconnection itself is about 11 million. So it's a substantial project, but it does allow the distribution of the regen power to everywhere else.
Yeah.
Paul, if I may, slight friendly amendment. The RTP electrical upgrade is around 34 million.
Oh.
We have budgeted in the range of 5 to 6 million for the interconnection piece. What's interesting though is that when you guys let the contract for the RTP electrical upgrade, we put in there a $2 million bid allowance for the interconnection. That was like placeholder budget to facilitate the negotiation with the contractor that we hired for the RTP electrical upgrade. So it could come in at less than, it could come in at 32 plus, it could come in at 38 million, but that's our best, our engineer's best estimate at this point for both components. So.
Thank you.
Anything else? All right, we'll go ahead and take it out to the public. Anybody in the public wish to speak on this item? All right, not seeing any takers, so we'll bring it back to the committee, and since it's a informational item, there's no motion needed. So thanks again, staff, for this. Look forward to keeping abreast of this moving forward. Lots of moving parts, and I think Supervisor Church nailed it on the head that it's a lot. So kudos to the team for the work put into this so far. With that, we'll move on to item number 11, AB 1234, report on trips, conference attendance, and meetings at the expense of the agency. Item A is to report from Director Moore on his attendance at the 2025 California Special District Association Special District Leadership Academy in Monterey, November 16th through the 19th, 2025. And I'll pass to you, Director Moore, if you wouldn't mind just keeping maybe within 3 minutes, and we can try to wrap up and get into closed session here soon.
Oh, you're worried that the professor might go on and on.
Never, I would never.
Never.
Please.
Well, I'm quite certain everyone on the board now has heard of the California Special Districts Association. I did want to just briefly point out that you have my 13-page report at the end of your board packet. And the reason I put together a detailed report is because I've heard this rumor that city council members and mayors are, what was the term I heard? Oh, busy, and may not easily be able to devote 2.5 days to going to something like the CSDA, California Special District Association Leadership Academy. They happen to do a pretty good job providing education. And if you think about the fact that over the last 100+ years, the state legislature has created 90 different cookie cutter types of special districts out there, from water districts to memorial districts to fire districts. I could go on, but I won't. There's 3,000 such districts with boards and directors. And those folks come from every walk of life you can think about, and perhaps need some assistance in learning the jobs, because last I checked, none of them got a passing grade in their high school course on nonprofit and local government agency board work, because there are no such courses. But I hope that I will encourage you to take the 10 or 15 minutes to scan through those 13 pages, because what I've tried to do is capture some interesting nuggets. And I hope at our next board meeting, you'll say, Tom, on page 6, you noted that such and such was true, that you learned there. I didn't know that before, so thank you for informing me. At least I hope that's what comes out of my report. So thank you very much.
That's exactly what I'll do if I get an A on the exam. I felt like I was in your
Sure,
classroom
grade
for a
it soon.
second. Thank you, Tom, and thanks for going to represent the agency on that. With that, we'll go to item 12, staff reports.
Thank you, Chair Williams. Couple quick things.
Oh, I'm sorry. Do I have to go to public comment on that one?
No. Couple quick things. Earlier this month, actually, January 5th and 6th, I was invited to participate in a recycled water workshop specific to PFAS. You may have heard about PFAS in the news, the forever chemicals, et cetera. And participants were primarily from UC Berkeley, Purdue, and 4 members from universities in the Ministry of Health from Israel. And they were looking at PFAS in terms of recycled water on crops, as well as biosolids composting, and what that vehicle is for PFAS into, frankly, all food, animals, and us. They also came for a tour of our facility later that week on the 8th. In reference to the coded digestion, we had Cal Recycle, a group from Cal Recycle come in, the ones that gave us the $4.2 million grant for a tour of our facilities on the 13th. I know Ron knows this one. I'm not sure if the rest of you. I am now on the Salinas Valley Basin GSA Technical Advisory Committee. And we had our first, well, I guess second meeting on January 22nd. It looks like we'll be meeting every month or every other month in a role of just looking at the options for the GSA and advising the board to help make their decisions. And lastly, I wanted to point out, you're right, we're juggling a lot of balls, and you can see the volume of work that's being done. What is very nice is you've seen Steve Kerrigan has been with us for, once again, feels like 30 years, but about a year and a half in a part-time role. We've increased that. He's agreed to do full-time work and take on a lot of those projects, those definable projects, frankly, with each of the members as well as our other stakeholders to help facilitate things getting done. Things such as easements with Pacific Grove or amendments with Marina Coast, some of the long-term agreement things with Salinas. So it's very nice to have someone with Steve's experience here, and so you'll be seeing more of him, whether we like that or not. With that,
We like that. So I'm going to go ahead and defer my staff report to Jose Guzman, and he's going to give us a quick update regarding operations at the facilities, and you could ask him any questions.
Thank you, Tammy. Good evening, Chair Moore and members of the board. Quick updates, not to take too much of your time. Like Paul mentioned earlier, for December, we eclipsed our all-time high and injected 603 acre-feet. Currently, for the month of January, we're averaging 6.5 million gallons a day injected. So I anticipate that eclipsing that 603 would be relatively easy this month, projecting maybe 610 to 615 acre-feet in the ground for a new all-time high. Since about mid-January, water demand has increased in the CSIP system. So in collaboration with WRA, they're averaging about 6 to 8 million gallons a day. Without SVRP running, that's all coming out of the ground. So, we're trying to avoid that. So today we started up the SVRP with 2 filters in recirculation at midnight, because we want to capture the full day of compliance sampling. We'll be putting water in the pond. So we should start seeing a decline in well usage. Demand isn't high enough to where it'll be a huge impact on AWPF. I anticipate a few more weeks of still being able to produce that peak production as part of the expansion. Matt provided an update on food waste. We are slowly increasing the deliveries. This week we have 2 3,000 gallon loads and 1 6,000 gallon load. So not a huge rush to get more deliveries because of the fact that we're trying to tie them all in with that timeline Mike shared of the renewable energy projects. One other interesting note, we were selected as a finalist for the CWEA Plant of the Year for large plant. So on Thursday, we'll have members of that committee come visit our facility. And the exciting news is not so much the local section, even though that is an accomplishment, is that this qualifies us now for the state. So I believe in April is the state CWA conference in Sacramento. So we're hoping to send some staff to represent us and, wish us luck that we make it further up in that process. I'll be happy to answer any questions.
Hi, Jose. So on the SVRP, is there restrictions by time of year in terms of when we can?
The main one is through our partnership with WRA. We've agreed that January is a hard shutdown. It's historically been the lowest demand month. So that's when we, have the hard shutdown for doing all the maintenance that's required on the plant itself, but primarily the chlorine system, because there's a lot of consumables that have to be replaced every year. But if we don't get any surprises, we could get that done a little sooner. So that was the case this year where we're able to get about a week head start on the new production season.
Okay. And you said, so you'll be pulling from SVRP as early as next week?
As early as tomorrow.
Oh, it's tomorrow. Okay.
All right.
All right. Thank you.
Anybody else? Right.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jose.
All right. Good evening and Happy New Year. I am here to do a quick legislative update as we work to put a greater spotlight on our advocacy programs. So I'll be sharing with you efforts from October 1st through December 31st, Q2 of our fiscal year. On the state side of things, our Q2 focus was an in-district spotlight and relationship building, and it was a very successful quarter with 5 key tangibles. So in October, we had State Senator Laird join us on site for a special briefing on the expansion of Pure Water Monterey. That was followed by our December co-digestion ribbon cutting, where State Assembly Member Addis joined us, along with members of California's Department of Resources, Recycling, and Recovery, which is CalRecycle. I did 2 legislative meetings with staffers from State Senator Laird's office, Speaker Rivas's office, and State Assembly Member Addis's office. And then in November, we had our principal engineer join the State Water Resources Control Board, who requested that Monterey One Water present on stormwater capture and our experiences as we provided a case study and lessons learned. The state is working to reduce barriers to stormwater capture and reuse implementation and was looking to learn some lessons from Monterey One Water. So a real honor to be asked to present to them. We are also at a state level monitoring the implementation of Prop 4, which you may be more familiar with as the climate bond, and any potential funding opportunities that may come from that. In addition to trying to advocate for where that funding might land. So for example, we're going to be submitting a comment letter to the California Department of Food and Agriculture, who is looking for input on how they might distribute their funding, Prop 4 funding. And so we will be submitting a letter detailing some of the projects more on the biosolids side of the House and how that funding may be able to assist us with some of those upcoming upgrades. Q3 coming up, the advocacy strategy is boots on the ground in Sacramento. So Paul and I have been starting to discuss our strategy for who we want to meet with and what we want to share as we educate those in the capital, in the California capital, on who we are and what we do. On the federal side of things, I'm going to keep it pretty brief tonight. So Q2 saw us in a 43-day federal government shutdown, the longest in U.S. history. And that ended with a continuing resolution to temporarily fund the government through this Friday, January 30th. The important thing for you to know, and while this isn't Q2, just kind of to understand with the appropriations process on the federal government, 6 appropriation bills, there are 12 total, 6 have been passed by Congress and signed by the president into law, which does include the 2 main appropriations bills that Monterey One Water is interested in, Interior and Environment and Energy and Water. So both of those were passed by Congress and signed into law by the president last Friday. The funding levels at agents that we most commonly see opportunities are U.S. Bureau of Reclamation and U.S. EPA. And the funding levels were very similar to previous years, no significant funding reductions to programs of importance to Monterey One Water. Potential for a partial government shutdown next week, depending upon how the remaining 6 bills go in the Senate. The House has passed them, waiting for the Senate to approve. The House is now on recess. If the Senate does not pass the remaining 6 appropriation bills as packaged by the House, if they pass something different, it has to go back to the House. The House is away right now. So we'll keep you updated as it goes, but the important thing for you to note as it relates to Monterey One Water is that the 2 key appropriation bills for us have been passed.
Awesome. Thank you for the presentation. Any questions?
And I will just add that I know greater transparency and the spotlight on the advocacy program was requested. So today you got this quick verbal. Moving forward at the end of each quarter, I will put an informational item in your packet so you have what I share verbally also in writing. And then we will continue our annual presentations as well on the Ledge platform and annual strategy.
It's not a question or anything. It's more of a comment. I just want to say thank you for this. It's very digestible. It's really important for us as a board to be aware of what's going on at a state level and a federal level. And your team is really putting in the work and meeting with all the critical offices, especially as the budget is facing budget deficits at the state level, and the federal government is also facing its challenges. You guys are doing what you can to protect the agency, and I like to see that. So thank you.
Thank you. Appreciated.
Well said. Awesome. Anybody else from staff?
I want to give an update on the development of the fiscal year 2027 budget. And staff finished the Water Resource Agency budget, which was presented to them on January the 15th. And then we have the first round of discussion on this Thursday on the WRA budget. The second budget we finalized is the wastewater fund budget. We have a preliminary model done already that we are planning to present that to the finance committee, budget and finance committee in February or March. And the last budget that we are working on is on the Pure Monterey, which is more complicated than the agency budget. So hopefully it will be done by mid-February. The other thing that we are working on is the cost allocation plan and the rate study. The cost allocation plan, we do have a rate model already. We are planning to roll that out to the other agency by early February. So we will have a group meeting. After the group meeting, we have an individual meeting with each of the agency. Regarding the rate study, we have finished a preliminary financial model already. And the next thing is to incorporate the CIP, all the CIP that we are planning to do for the next 10 fiscal year. Then we'll calculate the revenue requirement for the CIP. So for the next year rate model, we are looking for a base rate plus a CIP rate. So we are planning to present that to the board. Right now, it's looking at early April.
Any questions? Just gonna. That's that meeting that's not on our typical Monday. Is that correct?
You mean the rate study?
The April one?
Mhm.
We need to figure that out because
Yeah. Because of the Prop 218 notice, we may have a special meeting.
Okay.
So here are the options. And obviously time is really compressed when we're trying to do a rate study and a rate structure change potentially. So whether that hits the March 30th board meeting, which is going to be very tough, at a minimum, we probably need to go mid-April so we can hit the 45-day Prop 218 notice thing. We have an update meeting with Will Dan on February 2nd. And what we hope to do at that point is dive in a little bit more on this discrete schedule of all the moving parts, including some significant outreach if we move forward with the rate structure change. Because, I mean, people have been used to one thing for such a long period of time.
Could we have, at least have some, is there a possibility of giving some dates, just tentative dates?
Yes.
Okay.
It would be after February 2nd, if that's okay. I mean, we can give you some general thoughts on all of those steps and also what kind of outreach we could even do in that period of time. Because I know, you probably all have different requests and we want to make sure we hit all of our service area, but there is some time constraints.
Okay. The second's not that far away, but the sooner the better.
Yes.
Yeah.
All righty. Anybody else from staff? I think we're set. Okay, awesome. With that, we'll go to 13 board member comments reports, please.
Well, as a semi-retired professor, I could not resist the possibility of giving you an additional reading assignment. So I've asked Chai if she would please distribute my 14-page set of notes from my attendance at the 2025 Association of California Water Agencies Conference that was held in early December in San Diego. And I hope you will find a few more useful nuggets buried in that 10-minute read for you.
Will be a test?
I'll be happy to write one.
We know you would. Awesome. Anybody else? Please.
So talking about special districts, there is a new law that is effective SB 827, effective January 1st of 2026. It's required training, 2-hour training for local agency officials satisfying requirements of SB 827. Topics include municipal budgeting, financial reporting, capital financing, debt management, and ethical stewardship of public resources. CSDA is offering training with an online course on Wednesday, March 4th, 2026. If you belong to a special district, it's free, and I could get you that information. Also, let's see, so it's March 4th from 1 to 3, and it's free for CSDA members. Also, I just wanted to report that board members, Alexis and myself, we attended the Monterey Peninsula Chamber of Commerce membership luncheon, where we went up on stage and received a 35-year membership for Monterey One. That's my report.
Awesome. Awesome.
Chair,
Please.
just want to follow up from Mary Ann.
Mhm.
They also are going to record that seminar, and it's going to be available to go at your convenience to
That's
go.
awesome. Yeah, that was the pop in my head. I'm like 1 to 4. That's right in the middle of my workday. So I'm glad to hear that they're going to be recording, because it sounds like it would be a good thing to participate in.
I got a visit from Rochelle from CSDA to our board meeting, last board meeting.
Awesome. If anybody can get a hold of that and share that, that would be great. The link to the recording, or however they do that.
I have something here that I could get to you.
And
Yeah, I'm
Chai,
sure
you can, Chai will send it to the whole board.
Awesome. Look at
Wait.
that.
Yeah.
Thank you for it. All right. With that, we will do 14 public comments on closed session items. There's one item on closed session, which is conference with legal counsel, significant exposure to litigation. Anybody in the public wish to speak on this item? All righty. Seeing none, we're going to go ahead and adjourn to closed session. Thank you, everybody. Lead us out here.
It is 7:43 and the board is adjourned from closed session. There's no reportable action. Chair Williamson.
All right. Meeting is adjourned. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
So do you have a fixed